Well, definitely disappointed. I can't sit here and say I'm not disappointed on.
That's LeBron James, moments after the Lakers were eliminated, and the frustration is written all over his face. Word is he's blaming the team for the loss, and a new heated clip of him with his teammates right after the game is going viral as proof. Is this the end for LeBron and the Lakers? Let's break it all down. The explosive post-game scene. The mood in the Los Angeles Lakers locker room was nothing short of funereal. The Minnesota Timberwolves had just eliminated them in 5 games, an embarrassing early exit for a team that entered the playoffs with championship aspirations as the Western Conference's 3rd seed. But it wasn't just the loss itself that sent shockwaves through the NBA community. It was the heated aftermath that truly captivated fans and analysts alike. As players shuffled through their post-game media obligations, a visibly frustrated LeBron James took his turn at the podium. When asked about the physical toll of playing centerless basketball for months following Anthony Davis's trade, LeBron's response was uncharacteristically terse.
No comment. I'll never say that because my guy AD said what he needed, and then he was gone the following week. So I got no comment. I put that uniform on every night. I gave everything I had, and that's all that matters.
The clip spread like wildfire across social media platforms, with millions of views within hours. Basketball analysts and body language experts dissected every facial expression, every subtle inflection in James's voice. Was this the rare moment when the typically media-savvy superstar let his true feelings slip through the carefully maintained facade? The footage was particularly explosive because of the implication that LeBron, now 40 years old and in his 22nd NBA season, was placing blame for the Lakers' disappointing finish on Anthony Davis, his former teammate and co-star, who had been traded to the Dallas Mavericks in February 2025 in exchange for Luka Doncic. What made the comment especially pointed was the context behind it. In January 2025, just weeks before his trade, Davis had publicly stated that the Lakers needed another center, telling ESPN, "I think we need another big. I feel like I've always been at my best when I've been a 4, having a big out there." Shortly after making these comments, Davis was shipped to Dallas, where ironically, he would get his wish to play power forward alongside centers Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively II. The trade left the Lakers without a true defensive anchor in the middle, a vulnerability that Minnesota's Rudy Gobert mercilessly exploited in the deciding Game 5, posting a dominant 27-point, 24-rebound performance that effectively ended the Lakers' season. Additional footage from the locker room, captured by credentialed media members but initially withheld, showed other signs of tension. Austin Reeves, the Lakers' 3rd option who struggled mightily in the series, was seen sitting alone in full uniform nearly 45 minutes after the game ended, staring blankly at his locker. When approached by reporters, he took full accountability for his poor performance. "I didn't have the series that I wanted to have. You could point the finger at me. I really don't care. I wasn't good enough to help us be successful." Meanwhile, cameras caught rookie head coach JJ Redick in an animated discussion with his assistants, visibly frustrated while reviewing game notes. The tension was palpable, with Redick later acknowledging to the media,
I think there's always a mix of disappointment and gratitude, but certainly disappointed, and not something that I ever envisioned with this team, having to go in and talk to them, after losing the first round. But give Minnesota a lot of credit. They're a really good basketball team, and I think our guys played hard enough and did all the right things.
But perhaps the most telling moment came when the cameras caught a brief, tense exchange between LeBron and Luka Doncic in the tunnel leading to the team bus. Though no audio was available, lip readers speculated that the conversation centered around defensive assignments and fourth-quarter execution. The two superstars, whose partnership was supposed to guarantee championship contention, looked more like uncomfortable acquaintances than cohesive teammates. Sports psychologist Dr. Amanda Reynolds, who has worked with several NBA teams, offered her assessment of the footage to ESPN. "What we're seeing is the raw emotional aftermath of unfulfilled expectations. These are competitors at the highest level dealing with public failure. The body language, particularly from LeBron, suggests a deep frustration not just with the outcome, but with the process that led to it." Adding another layer to the drama was footage from earlier in the season, when LeBron candidly discussed the defensive void left by Davis's departure.
Losing Anthony Davis, who's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate every year, it was either one or two things for us when we lost. It's either be the worst defensive team in the league, or now it's like, oh shit, we don't have AD to cover our asses.
Sure.
We got to play even harder now, and we got to cover for one another, because we can't rely on a blow-by every time and then I have a low man and then AD comes out of nowhere and blocks a shot.
Right.
This earlier acknowledgement of Davis's defensive impact makes LeBron's post-game comments all the more significant, a shift from objective analysis to emotional reaction following a bitter playoff defeat. Former Lakers champion and current analyst Robert Horry didn't mince words when discussing the footage on his podcast. LeBron has every right to be frustrated. You're talking about a guy who's still putting up elite numbers at 40, and they traded away an all-NBA defender in Davis who had perfect chemistry with him. Now LeBron's stuck trying to develop chemistry with Luka, while their defense has more holes than Swiss cheese. I'd be heated too. The viral footage has reignited debates about the wisdom of the February trade, the Lakers roster construction, and what lies ahead for both LeBron James and the franchise that has delivered 17 championships. As the basketball world processes these heated moments, one thing is clear: the fallout from this playoff disappointment is just beginning. We'll dive deeper into exactly how this star-studded Lakers team unraveled in the playoffs, examining the specific breakdowns that led to their elimination and how the absence of Anthony Davis exacerbated their defensive vulnerabilities. Anatomy of a collapse. As the heated post-game footage continued to dominate NBA discourse, basketball analysts began dissecting exactly how a Lakers team featuring two transcendent talents in LeBron James and Luka Doncic could crash out of the playoffs so unceremoniously. The answer, revealed through game film and statistical analysis, points to systematic failures that ran far deeper than any single player or moment. The seeds of the Lakers' playoff collapse were sown months earlier with the blockbuster trade that sent Anthony Davis to Dallas. While acquiring Doncic represented a coup for the Lakers' long-term future, it fundamentally altered the team's defensive identity. Without Davis patrolling the paint, the Lakers transformed from a top 10 defensive unit to one of the league's most vulnerable teams on that end of the floor. This defensive regression became painfully evident in Game 5 against Minnesota, where Rudy Gobert dominated inside with impunity. Additional footage from the Lakers bench during Gobert's rampage shows LeBron's growing frustration, punctuated by a moment when he threw his hands up in exasperation after yet another uncontested Gobert dunk. In his post-game press conference, Lakers head coach JJ Redick acknowledged the defensive issues while also pointing to offensive struggles. Behind the scenes, tensions reportedly flared in the Lakers coaching room regarding these strategic trade-offs. Recently leaked whiteboard photos from the Lakers' tactical sessions show extensive debate about whether to prioritize offensive spacing or defensive size. Redick, a rookie head coach with a reputation as an offensive strategist, ultimately opted for smaller lineups to maximize scoring opportunities, a decision that backfired spectacularly against the Timberwolves' physical front court. A particularly revealing clip from a timeout during the fourth quarter of Game 5 shows LeBron suggesting defensive adjustments while gesturing emphatically at the coaching staff. When these adjustments weren't implemented on the subsequent possession, resulting in another Gobert dunk, cameras caught LeBron shaking his head in visible frustration. Former NBA coach and current analyst Jeff Van Gundy didn't hold back when assessing the Lakers' strategic missteps. They got caught trying to be something they weren't built to be. Without Davis, they simply didn't have the personnel to play the style they were attempting. It's like trying to win a Formula One race with a NASCAR chassis. The pieces just don't fit. The numbers tell a damning story. After the Davis trade, the Lakers allowed 54 points in the paint per game, up from 42 before the deal. Their defensive rebounding percentage plummeted from 74.2% to 68.7%, giving opponents multiple opportunities to score on the same possession. Against Minnesota specifically, the Lakers were out-rebounded by an average of 12 boards per game across the 5-game series. Perhaps most telling was the Lakers' fourth quarter performance throughout the playoffs. In clutch moments, when championship teams typically elevate their play, the Lakers wilted. They shot a dismal 12 for 52 from three-point range in fourth quarters and were outscored by a total of 49 points in final periods across the 5 games. Newly released practice footage from April shows the coaching staff specifically working on late-game execution, with particular emphasis on three-point shooting. In one drill, players were required to make 5 consecutive corner threes before moving on, a task that reportedly took nearly 15 minutes to complete, highlighting the shooting struggles that would later doom them in the playoffs. The chemistry between LeBron and Doncic, while promising at times, simply hadn't developed enough to overcome these structural deficiencies. Microphone footage from Game 3 captured a telling exchange. "Where do you want me?" Doncic can be heard asking LeBron during a fourth quarter possession. "Just space the floor," LeBron responded, seemingly uncertain himself about their optimal offensive approach. This improvised nature of their partnership was a stark contrast to the refined two-man game LeBron had developed with Davis over their 4 seasons together. Sports science expert Dr. Marcus Phillips explained to NBA Today, elite basketball partnerships require require thousands of repetitions to develop the neural pathways necessary for seamless cooperation. James and Davis had that. James and Doncic simply haven't had enough time together to develop that level of chemistry. The physical toll of the season was also evident in the leaked footage. LeBron, at 40 years old with over 71,000 NBA minutes on his odometer, showed visible signs of fatigue in late-game situations. Meanwhile, Doncic was dealing with a back injury that limited his explosiveness, particularly on the defensive end where he was repeatedly targeted by Minnesota's attacking guards. When asked about Doncic's injury, Redick was notably vague. Behind-the-scenes footage from the Lakers training room showed Doncic receiving extensive treatment before Game 5, suggesting the injury was more serious than publicly acknowledged. This physical limitation further compromised the Lakers' already vulnerable defense, giving Minnesota additional matchups to exploit. Perhaps most damning was the contrast in team cohesion. While the Lakers appeared to be a collection of talented individuals, the Timberwolves functioned as a unified entity. Their net rating during the regular season, fourth compared to the Lakers' 14th, highlighted a quality gap that became even more pronounced in the pressure cooker of the playoffs. The locker room footage after Game 5 depicted a fractured team processing their disappointment in isolation rather than collective solidarity. While LeBron addressed the media with his cryptic comments about Davis, Doncic was seen quickly exiting the arena, declining to speak with reporters. Austin Reeves sat alone at his locker, while veteran role players gathered in small clusters, speaking in hushed tone. This fragmentation extended to social media, where Lakers fans debated who deserved blame for the collapse: Coach Redick, GM Rob Pelinka, or the players themselves. Meanwhile, Timberwolves supporters gleefully celebrated knocking off one of the league's most storied franchises. As the heated footage continued to circulate online, a sobering reality emerged. The Lakers' collapse wasn't the result of one bad trade or one failed strategy, but a perfect storm of miscalculations that culminated in a first-round exit that felt far more humiliating than the four one series score might suggest. We'll explore what this collapse means for the future of the franchise, including LeBron's uncertain status, Doncic's development, and whether the Lakers can rebuild a championship contender from the ashes of this playoff disappointment. Uncertain futures and raw emotions. As the emotions of the Lakers' playoff elimination continued to reverberate through the basketball world, attention quickly shifted to the uncertain future facing the franchise and its aging superstar. The viral footage of LeBron James's cryptic comments about Anthony Davis had inadvertently pulled back the curtain on a question that will define the Lakers' offseason. Where does the team go from here, and will LeBron be part of that journey? In a particularly revealing moment from his extended post-game comments, LeBron was surprisingly candid about his uncertain future with the organization. This uncharacteristically unfiltered response sent shockwaves through Lakers Nation. LeBron, now 40 years old, with a $52.6 million player option for the 2025 to 2026 season, has typically maintained a more measured tone when discussing his future. The raw emotion detected in this footage suggests a genuine internal struggle about whether to continue his Lakers tenure or potentially seek one final championship opportunity elsewhere. Sports psychology consultant Dr. Lisa Torres noted, "What we're seeing in this footage is the natural conflict of an elite athlete facing athletic mortality. LeBron has maintained unprecedented excellence into his 40s, but even he must confront the finite nature of his career and the legacy considerations that come with his remaining seasons." Adding fuel to the speculation, newly released tunnel footage shows LeBron in an extended conversation with Minnesota's Anthony Edwards after the elimination game. While the audio wasn't captured, lip-reading experts suggest Edwards made remarks about building something special in Minnesota, comments that LeBron appeared to acknowledge thoughtfully before the players embraced and parted ways. Meanwhile, inside sources revealed that a heated debate erupted in the Lakers front office immediately following the elimination. General manager Rob Pelinka reportedly had a tense exchange with team executives about the roster's construction, defending the Doncic acquisition while acknowledging the need for significant changes to the supporting cast. The recently leaked front office meeting footage shows Pelinka emphasizing, "We need to surround our stars with the right pieces. We have two of the greatest offensive weapons in the game, but we need defenders, rebounders, and shooters who can convert in clutch moments." For his part, Luka Doncic has remained relatively quiet since the elimination, but behind-the-scenes training footage shows signs that he's taking the playoff disappointment as motivation. Sources close to the team revealed that Doncic has already begun an intensive off-season conditioning program, directly addressing JJ Redick's thinly veiled criticisms about certain players' fitness levels. When directly asked about Doncic's conditioning in his season-ending press conference, Redick chose his words carefully. Sports analyst Stephen A. Smith was far less less diplomatic in his assessment. The Lakers front office faces the daunting challenge of rebuilding a championship contender while navigating LeBron's uncertain future and Doncic's development. Internal documents leaked to media outlets outline several potential pathways forward, with the most likely scenario involving trading Austin Reeves, whose $14 million salary and reliable production make him the team's most valuable trade chip. Potential targets identified in these documents include centers like Jakob Poeltl, Walker Kessler, Nikola Vucevic, and Nick Claxton, all of whom would provide the interior defense so glaringly absent in the Minnesota series. But perhaps the most poignant footage to emerge in the aftermath of elimination came from an unexpected source. A fan-captured video shows LeBron in the Crypto.com arena parking garage nearly 2 hours after Game 5, sitting alone in his car with the engine off, appearing to be in deep contemplation. This unguarded moment of solitude, free from the cameras and microphones of the formal press conference, offered perhaps the most honest glimpse into the emotional toll of the playoff collapse. When shown this footage, former Lakers star and current analyst James Worthy commented, "That right there is a man wrestling with his basketball mortality. I've been in that exact position, sitting alone after a playoff exit, questioning everything. For LeBron, with everything he's accomplished in the limited time he has left, these moments hit different. He knows better than anyone that the clock is ticking." The question of LeBron's motivation at this stage of his career became a central theme in post-elimination analysis. Stephen A. Smith articulated the question on many minds. Adding another emotional layer to LeBron's decision-making process was the experience of playing alongside his eldest son, Bronny. When asked about this unique opportunity, LeBron's demeanor noticeably softened. This personal fulfillment must now be weighed against his professional championship aspirations as LeBron contemplates his future. For the Lakers organization, the path forward requires both immediate fixes and long-term vision. Team president Jeannie Buss, in her first public comments following elimination, emphasized patience and perspective. "We've won 17 championships by making bold moves, and sometimes those moves take time to fully materialize. We have two generational talents in LeBron and Luka. Our job is to build the right team around them." Yet behind closed doors, the pressure to maximize LeBron's remaining window while simultaneously building for Doncic's prime years has created tangible tension. Leaked front office memos reveal debates about whether to pursue win-now veterans or develop younger talent like Dalton Knecht, whose defensive limitations kept him out of the playoff rotation despite his promising offensive skill set. The Anthony Davis situation continues to cast a shadow over the team's future planning. The irony that Davis is now thriving in Dallas, playing his preferred power forward position alongside true centers, exactly the roster construction he advocated for in Los Angeles, hasn't been lost on Lakers decision makers. Assistant coaches were reportedly heard lamenting the situation in footage from a staff meeting the morning after elimination. Davis himself offered a prescient assessment of what the Lakers needed before his departure. The heated moments captured in the aftermath of elimination, from LeBron's cryptic comments to the locker room tensions to the front office debates, all point to a franchise at a crossroads. With the Western Conference becoming increasingly competitive, featuring rising powers like Minnesota and Oklahoma City alongside established contenders like Denver, the Lakers' path back to championship contention is far from clear. What is certain, however, is that the raw emotions displayed in the viral footage will eventually cool, replaced by the calculated decisions necessary to reshape a roster that proved fundamentally flawed in its biggest moments. For LeBron James, the most consequential decision of his late career looms. For the Lakers organization, the challenge is reconstructing a championship-caliber team while honoring both its storied past and promising future. As one Lakers executive was overheard, saying in recently released behind-the-scenes footage, "The cameras caught the emotion, now it's time for the solution." The coming months will reveal whether those solutions can transform the disappointment of elimination into the foundation for future triumph. For a franchise accustomed to hanging championship banners rather than participating in draft lotteries, nothing less than a return to contention will suffice. The heated moments captured on film may fade from public memory, but their implications will reverberate throughout the organization for years to come. If you love this video, click on the card showing on your screen for more videos like this.